Thanks very much, Jack, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for making time to come and hear some of us speak about SAI and about our own businesses and what sustainability means to us. I can't go any further without saying I hope everyone's enjoying their lunch, their chicken. And look, I just want to give you a quick overview of Inghams, a brief outline of what sustainability means to us, and then just make a couple of comments about SAI and the value that organisation brings to organisations like ours, like Inghams. So Inghams has been involved in sustainability for quite some time. Our very first environmental policy and strategy was developed over 30 years ago. So we have been at it for several decades. We started off with very much an environmental management focus. So our sustainability journey really started with environment at its core. And that started primarily with compliance to legislation. Around the early 80s was when a lot of legislation started to come in. And so that was our focus, or the business's focus at that point. Over time, the intent has changed from environmental management to environmental sustainability, and more recently, in the last 10 years, to business sustainability. So we take the view of sustainability as not just being in the environment. The environment's a key part of sustainability. But social sustainability and economic sustainability are very key to overall business sustainability, which is what we believe it means to us at Inghams. So what we do at Inghams is we work pretty hard to make sure sustainability is incorporated in all of our day-to-day decision making, and we're very focused on sustainable agriculture. We're one of the biggest purchasers, if not the biggest purchasers of wheat in Australia, for example. So agricultural input is extremely important to us. We're farmers, we're growing chickens, and we're also food manufacturers. So agriculture is extremely important, and obviously we want agriculture to survive in the long term so that we can as well. Water stewardship and overall food production, feeding people, are at the core of our strategy. More recently, we've undertaken climate risk assessments, and to Jack's point, climate is a present risk, and we're dealing with that risk today and tomorrow, and we have been dealing with that for quite some time. And we've also undertaken an ethical sourcing piece of work on ethical sourcing, so we now have a strategy around that. We did a comprehensive review of our sustainability strategy last year, and as Jack said, we're a fairly newly listed company. So we're now, reporting on this publicly for the first time. So we've taken, as I said, a broader approach to sustainability. So some of the things that concern, that we believe are sustainability themes, if you like, for Inghams as a business, are things like consumer impact. So quality in everything we do is one of our mantras, it's one of our values, but what we must be doing at our core is producing healthy, safe food. So quality in all that we do is part of our sustainability ethos. We've got a comprehensive quality management system, and we're part of the Global Food Safety Initiative and various other things to ensure that food safety and quality are at the forefront. Animal welfare is obviously critically important to our business and a key part of our sustainability strategy. All our birds are barn raised, cage-free, and grown without hormones. So Inghams produces RSPCA certified birds and also free-range FRIPA certified birds, and that's all we do. We have very robust systems in place to make sure that animal welfare is adhered to, all of the principles are adhered to, and that those higher welfare standards are maintained. Labour practices and safety is another theme. So as I mentioned before, sustainability is environment, social or society as well as economic. So for us, we employ 8,500 people across our network. So making sure that our people are safe and that they're being paid and treated appropriately is incredibly important to us. And we have systems and audit compliance regimes and so on in place to make sure that remains the case. Climate change, adaptation and resilience. So that's really the big one for overall business sustainability, no matter what business you're in. So it's very important for us that we not only address the present challenges, but that we have some sort of anticipation of what might come. So that's where a lot of the risk assessment comes into place, as well as our responsibility and obligation to understand how our greenhouse gas emissions are generated, how we're contributing to the problem, and how we can help minimise that contribution. Adaptation to the challenging changes in climate has been part of our business from its inception 100 years ago, and continues, but it is definitely intensifying. So we are seeing increasing challenges, particularly around extreme temperature and drought. Environmental compliance and performance is obviously critical to sustainability, and as I mentioned before, that's really where our whole sustainability strategy originated, was with that environmental compliance and management space. We've been recognised. We've been lucky enough to be recognised as a global leader in water stewardship. Water is one of our key inputs, and it's necessary for everything that we all do, not just at Inghams. So we are a large water user, and we have an obligation to understand how that water comes to us, what we do with it, and how that impacts on the catchment that we discharge back into, as well as gaining our water from. So we've pursued a water stewardship strategy where we are going through a process of audit and certification of all of our major water using sites. And at this stage we have 2 out of the 5 certified, with another 2 going through that audit process later this year. I mentioned ethical sourcing and sustainable procurement. That's a relatively new area for us, but obviously when we look at our supply chain, we're a vertically integrated company, so we've got oversight of our supply chain. But when you go into things like other ingredients and packaging and the gumboots that you wear in the factory and those sorts of things, we're not producing those ourselves. So we have an interest in making sure that the other goods and services that we source are done so ethically and sustainably. The last pillar or theme, if you like, of our sustainability strategy is corporate social responsibility. Inghams has had a long and proud history of being a good corporate citizen, treating its people fairly, treating its animals well, and also being a big contributor to the communities in which it has operated. And we're very keen as a publicly listed company to continue that tradition. So we've entered into some new major partnerships, most recently with the Ingham Institute for Medical Research, which is a medical research facility, a world-class facility that the Ingham family established 10 years ago, and now Inghams, as a separate business, is a key corporate sponsor of that. And we've also recently partnered with some other organisations. So look, I just close in sort of echoing Jack's comments about the benefit of SAI. Sustainability is not straightforward. It's not the easiest thing to do, but the best way to do it is from my perspective, is to learn by having a go and actually doing it. And SAI as a membership organisation is a fantastic support in doing that. We're a group that comes together in a pre-competitive environment. We're able to talk openly with peers and actually talk about the issues and the solutions. And that's incredibly helpful and beneficial for all of us that are part of SAI. So that's all I had to say. So thanks very much, and I'll pass it on to Jack.